It's forecast year here reporting in. Today is Wednesday, October 28, 2015 in the evening. It's about 8 o'clock in the evening. And we're reporting in actually from Colorado, the location of, or near to, the GOP 2016 debate for who will be the running for presidency with the Republican platform. What really struck me in watching this, I'm here near Denver, not near Boulder, so just a couple cities over, but in the general area. What really struck me as strange was it wasn't hardly a debate at all. I mean, it was more like a game show, and I felt like I was watching Jeopardy or The Price is Right, a combination of those two shows, where Jeopardy, where they're trying to get all this trivia that they're trying to cough up, and The Price is Right was kind of, as they talk about tax code or what their solution to the economic melees is, or their non-solutions, or their lack of, solid, real solutions. That's kind of what it felt like. More like a game show than a real debate. And not totally the candidate's fault. A few of them pointed out, the mainstream media and kind of how unfair it is. And that was a brave thing to do, a very true comment. But it wasn't a debate, because usually in a debate, kind of everybody gets a similar question, and then they've got to debate the topic. Literally, they've got to say, what would you do about this? And everybody gets posed similar questions. Here they got a little bit of that, but they also got a lot of individually harped on and picked on about their own background and whatnot, where they're supposed to be defending themselves and their own background. There was a whole lot of that going on, which doesn't make it a level debate at all. A level debate is, here are the topics. How would you handle X, Y, or Z? What would be your approach? Or what should be done in this situation? Or what should be done? That's more like a debate. And so intrinsically, this thing where they randomly harp on a person's background and everybody had a different thing they were getting harped on for, that made it a very unfair playing ground for the candidates. And so and that was more like a game show or a reality show, maybe, is what it was like. So a cross between The Price is Right and Jeopardy and one of these strange reality shows, which is totally unrealistic, is a little bit of really what it for, and a little bit of a soap opera mixed in. You had a little bit of this soap opera, this dramatic. I'm going to run some gossip on this person and that person, and so there's this soap opera element to it. As far as our prediction, our forecast about the outcoming. It looks like Trump and Carson are continuing to lead in the polls. They've even got them positioned. They've even got them here in the middle of the thing, and you can see who's already been pushed to the sidelines. We got, in my opinion, one of the best candidates, really, which is Ted Cruz, the very best candidate for president. In my opinion, the most qualified one is the former governor of Texas, which is I think it was Governor Perry, who did phenomenal work reinvigorating the economy of Texas. He seemed like the most qualified one, because that seemed like the core issue is America's economy, and what to do to improve the economy and the economic outlook for all Americans. And Governor Perry, in his work as the governor, seems like he's by far the best, and he's been totally marginalized out of the debate. It's incredible. So that I think is shocking that that's happened, but that's how much they've tried to game this debate system. As far as who's going to continue to do well, I like Ben Carson as a person. I think he is kind of soft-spoken outsider. Frankly, I think he'd be great in public service and doing his next thing in public service, but I don't know if he's ready to be president, because he hasn't been senator or governor, or we don't really know his real voting record. Kind of like Obama had a limited voting record going in, only obviously a very different political zeitgeist than Obama. But Obama really reversed his position on a huge number of topics and what he said he was going to do. So that's, I think, the danger, and that danger exists with Trump also, although he's more politically connected and whatnot, and has had more, I would say, business leadership type roles that help prepare him for a role in political leadership. Mr. Carson, as much as I like him, has also had limited business leadership type roles. Really, he's done some high-level consulting for some, and been on some boards of some big companies, and I think that's a good thing. It exposes him to high-level strategic economic issues. I think that's a really good thing, and he's definitely got the brains for it. But really, I don't see him as having the background as far as political leadership roles, but also business leader. But I'd love to have him becoming a political leader. I just don't think he's ready to be president at this time. Maybe in the next go-around. But nonetheless, I still think it's good to have him interthreaded with the dialogue. And Carly Fiorina, I mean, talk about a game situation. They were easy on her. She came into power and destroyed all these jobs. I mean, talk about a fake person. She destroyed all these U.S. jobs that she moved offshore. They didn't talk about that. They didn't talk about the fact that she came to power at HP as CEO about the same time Steve Jobs returned to power at Apple as CEO. And he did much better work at a computer company, providing leadership, strategic leadership on what they should do than what she did. She went out and made major strategic blunders, including the acquisition of Compaq, which basically everybody said was a strategic mistake. And it is true that the NASDAQ fell, but that there was a rebound. I don't think her getting terminated is a big deal because a lot of CEOs can't hang in there 6 years at a tech company. And so that's not necessarily for fault. You could do politically unsavory things. But I think a better comparison would have been to ask about her tenure vis-a-vis that and the performance of HP versus that of Apple. Again, Steve Jobs coming in at the same time. So she's really a shill, in my opinion, not qualified to do the job. Ted Cruz, a little bit of a shill. They really didn't talk about, this was a gamed discussion anyway. They did not talk about hot topics. Why are we in the Middle East at all? Obama said we were going to get out of Iraq. Now we're about to send boots in the ground back there. I mean, this was a totally gamified. It wasn't a debate at all, to be honest. And so it's almost like we need a new media channel like Twitter or something else to host like a call, like a dial-in or a call-in, where people they vote on what questions they want to ask. Pretty much everybody gets asked the questions, or they split in two groups. Group A and Group B. The only good thing is that they did try to field a large field of candidates instead of just like five. That I think is better. But again, some of the best qualified people are being pre-marginalized, including Rand Paul, who I think is one of the very best qualified people and best spoken, and really, got into it as far as, audit the Fed. Yeah, why aren't we auditing the Fed? And there's those bills and how we need to go back to gold. I think Ted Cruz talked about that. Maybe we need to have, partially gold-backed currency. So those are important because it puts that idea in people's minds. So there has been some benefit of it. As far as I think who the winners are going to be, I think Mr. Trump, again, is starting to sound good. He is better behaved than before. He's fixing his behavior problem. That's one of his number one problems, frankly. Mr. Carson, I like him in general, but I don't think he injected a lot of great new points in the debate. I don't see Bush recovering at all from their slump. He had very little good things to offer. I do see a lot of them starting to, kiss butt here, so they can get nominated. One can be president, one can be vice president, and get that secondary nomination. I see that starting to happen, where they're all starting to say, the enemy is not the other person here. It's the Democrats. They're starting to try to get in line here to be, president and vice president, get that second nomination. So I see that jockeying for position happening now, and so we'll see. Marco Rubio, I mean, give me a break. He's not a conservative at all. What a joke. He just wants to import more and more foreign workers, which is a program that we probably should have to attract in some good talent, but it's an out-of-control program. He wants to expand it, which is insane. So overall, I'm disappointed in this thing. It felt like a game show. To summarize, I think Trump is going to be regaining in the polls, is the prediction, because mostly he was better composed and more respectful to other people, although he wasn't able to hit as hard and make as strong a point as he does. But I still think he's doing pretty well. I think his arguments sound home with people, including a viable wall with Mexico. I think he needs to get in a point there, like something like, say something like, good fences make good neighbors, like Robert Frost said in his poem. I think that's a salient thing. It was good advice then. It's still good advice today, and go with that. So he can call upon poetic genius like Robert Frost in making his concern that we ought to have a wall. And you can also talk about how they're having to put these walls up all over Europe. Although he made a great point about the Great Wall of China. That was a great one, and they were defending their nation against the Mongolian invasion. They had to have the continuity of their people and their country. So I think his concern about a wall, but one with a good door in it, I think that was right. And not just for increasing immigrants, but also it's a two-way door. It's one for business also. And the wall is also to protect Mexico from the United States. There's elements that there's things that they want to control from their border too. And they have different rules than we have, and they want to enforce those rules. And that rule, so that wall can be a partnership for our countries, that we can respect each other, but also our differences. All right, thanks for tuning in to Forecast Year. And again, let us know in the comments what you thought about the debate, and was Trump better behaved? I think it ought to be Trump and Rand Paul. I think Rand Paul, I think, ought to be president and Trump vice president, but I think it'd be the other way around in reality. I think Trump would be running for president and Rand Paul would be his VP. But I think Rand Paul's got it together more as far as his vision and what to do. So please sound off about what you thought as far as the outcome of the debate, and did you think that this felt like a game show? Thanks so much.